of the Allied Expeditionary Force. You are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you.
Alright, howdy folks, welcome back to the channel. Today I just want to do a quick and dirty video on Men of War 2's latest news and their trailer they just released. The trailer not really showing anything new, but maybe finally showing a little bit more of what we wanted to see, which was slightly more long-range combat, something that I really talked about in my last video, but also a lot of people really seem to agree with, that the game really almost was made out to be sort of like a Company of Heroes arcade-style game, and not something like a lot of people expect when they see Men of War in the title of a game, which is more a little bit based on realism. So first, I'll let you watch this new trailer, which does showcase some of those moments with a little bit more distance and engagements, which is awesome to see, and a look at some of the D-Day beach landing gameplay, which does look very impressive. And then we'll talk a little bit about their latest news, which includes a delay to their release schedule.
Сегодня в 4 часа утра, без всякого объявления войны, германские вооруженные силы атаковали границы Советского Союза.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force. You are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you.
So, as I said in that trailer, a little bit more longer engagement ranges and a couple of very cool scenes regarding the D-Day beach landings. I know that Gates of Hell is something that a lot of people are going to compare this game to, and I really can't blame you. Something I'm personally, of course, also very heavily comparing it with. And the one thing that Men of War 2 on release is going to have that's ahead of Gates of Hell is obviously going to have that third faction being the US. Now, Gates of Hell has added Finland, but obviously the whole Western Front, the whole Normandy D-Day beach landing stuff is something that we'll probably see down the line as a DLC, much like the Finnish DLC for Gates of Hell, but Men of War 2 will launch with it. And that shot of the Americans driving up to a heavily bombarded town in Normandy does look very cool. But the main thing is, like I said, there is a delay in the game's release. Originally, it was scheduled to release in the later months of 2022, but they have come out and said they need more time, and it's been put forward to sometime in 2023. Now, normally I would be a little annoyed or upset by that, but I think we need to cut the Best Way Studios some slack because, as I touched upon in my last video, they're actually based out of Ukraine, and you've had to be living in a complete media blackout for the last 7 months, basically. You must know there's an invasion going on. Their studio used to be in Zverodonetsk, and they've actually had to relocate their staff, their offices, their families after the invasion. So I think we all need to cut them a little bit of slack and completely understand that what they are developing this game in are very unique and interesting circumstances, to say the least. So with this delay, and I'm not sure if it's because of this delay or it's something that they wanted to do and they're delaying it because of that, but they're going to be adding a German campaign, which is something that the game was not supposed to release with. It was supposed to release with 2 campaigns, one for the Soviets and one for the Americans, as well with a dynamic campaign or dynamic campaigns, which again, the way they worded it in the video sounded like it would just be for the Americans and the Soviets, with the Germans really only maybe being playable by modders or by playing multiplayer. But now they've come out and said they are going to be adding the much requested, so everyone in the comments in their my videos, on their video, probably on the Steam news pages for the game, I want to say thank you for nicely bugging them, I guess, for a campaign for the Germans. I think it would have been really crazy to have 3 factions in a World War II game and Germany not being one of them that has a campaign. I think it's perfect that we have one for the Soviets, one for the Americans, and now they've said they're making one for the Germans. And allegedly, what I'm reading in this press release also sounds like they're going to be adding a dynamic German campaign as well. If you want more information on this all, I tried sort of digging through what they said and figuring out what they meant, also kind of combining their wording on the Steam store page, and I'll link that previous video in the description below if you want a little bit more information, or at the very least guesstimation on this dynamic campaign and the regular campaigns. So just a little bit of information today. There's really not much to say. I think that the closer we get to release, the more we'll hopefully get to figure out how this game is going to play. I think, and I truly believe, based on the trailers they have made, at least his latest trailer for sure, they are really trying to be like the good old Men of War. And the earlier trailers with the super close quarters combat between mostly vehicles was just to fit it all on a screen and have it, you know, kind of close together, rather than having to zoom out a whole bunch to actually see everything. But I think due to a lot of comments saying like, hey, is this going to be arcade? Is this trying to be Company of Heroes? Is this really Men of War? They have finally taken that and said, you know what, we need to make a trailer that really showcases a little bit more of what we're trying to do, which is why they have those more zoomed out shots with tanks actually engaging a little bit further away. I am excited for this game because I feel like there is room for Gates of Hell and this game to exist at the same time, specifically because it does feel like Gates of Hell is already pretty realistic, and it might be that Men of War 2 is a little bit more arcadey. In the long run, I really don't think it's bad to have both Gates of Hell and Men of War 2 both release in the same environment. It'll just mean that the developers of both games actually get some competition. As you can see, Men of War Assault Squad 1 and 2 released without a real competitor, and now 2 different companies and 2 different publishers are developing these games, and I think us as players, as consumers, will reap the benefits of these 2 games existing at the same time, with the developers and publishers for both games realizing they need to keep up, they need to keep uploading new content, making sure it's good content, and whether it's paid for or free, that doesn't really matter, I think, in the long run, because people are obviously willing to pay for good content. Look at the Talvisota DLC for Gates of Hell, and the generally very positive attitude people have had towards it. How Men of War 2 will actually do upon release, and how long it will take for them to release, it could literally be November 2023 or February 2023, we'll have to see. But until then, I'm going to be keeping an eye out for more news, whether it's more trailers, more press releases, or anything in between. I'll keep an eye on it, and the second something pops up, you bet your ass I'll make a video on it. For now, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick look at the latest Men of War 2 news, with a little bit of sadness in the fact that they are going to delay the release, but with an awesome bit of news with obviously the new German campaign, which is something that I think a lot of people were asking for. For now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Love to see you in the next one.